I don't want to do either of those things.
Yeah, but if you had to, though. We set the scene, we had the choice, we already decided on the correct answers. I was Kyle.
And I was, and still am, Nathan.
This is If You Had To, though. Welcome again to our second part of our One-Tenial...
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
I cut you off right at the end of that sentence there, Kyle. I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine. What was you going to say, Nathan? What was so important that you had to cut me off?
Well, I just said welcome back. That's literally what all I was going to say.
Oh, wonderful.
But yes, as Kyle was trying to say, but failed to say because he's dumb, stupid, dumb. This is part 2 of our One-Tenial celebration. See how easy that is to say?
Yes, we are having quite the celebration. So much of a celebration were we having that we decided to split this into 2 episodes rather than 1. Because it's much more fun that way.
It was definitely because we were having too much fun.
Not because we went off on so many tangents.
Definitely the first one. The fun thing.
So the premise of the show is usually that we create scenarios for each other resulting in 2 possible outcomes. We usually discuss each outcome's pros and cons and decide definitively on the correct answer. But we've already done that, so...
We've already done that multiple times. The correct answers for all of the various things that have happened to us.
Where did we leave off at the end of the last episode, Nathan?
Well, you, Kyle, have you've kind of had the slate wiped clean because you were a melted blob that was once Frankenstein monster's body with your mind inside of it, disguised as the girl from The Ring. But then, following an interdimensional adventure, you were transformed back into your normal self, but with a womanly figure, and then you were cursed by a witch to tap dance forever whenever you heard someone moaning, which means forever in this country.
Yeah, so basically now I am in a cabin in the woods, tap dancing alone, with...
The same cabin you were murdered in.
The same cabin I was murdered in, incidentally, with a very handsome face and a woman's body. Whereas you, Nathan, you are now a...
Following my escape from the maximum security penitentiary, and I am a tiny little gnome with a cow's head in an onion costume, and I've recently gone deaf.
Yes, we can't forget that Nathan is now deaf.
But I have a tattoo of Postman Pat on my brain, so it's all looking up Nathan.
It's all looking up for Nathan. So yeah, Nathan, as we said in the last episode, he's escaped from prison, so he is constantly on this drunken binge. And he...
Naturally.
Yeah. Well...
That's a fact. Well, more of advice for the listeners.
Yeah.
If you ever find yourself on the run, definitely get drunk all the time. And
it's the only...
not at home.
It's the only way. It's the only way to keep yourself sane, I think.
Exactly. And because I am so small, I just have to buy one single cider, and that absolutely gets me pissed off my head.
Yeah. So and you did do that, Nathan. You had one cider, and you made...
I had to grip with both hands and sip like it was a giant barrel.
Oh, that's adorable. But this caused you to make 2 friends. And as we've said before, you don't make friends easily. You do not have friends.
I was very surprised.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was your silly idea to go hang out in a graveyard with these...
Well, this was the pub that was at the end of a graveyard.
Yes.
It was a church that that also served drinks.
Yeah, the priest himself
was pissed off his head.
He was more like the priest from Father Ted, more of a comedy character than an actual priest.
But he was actually real because everything we're saying was 100% factual.
Oh yeah, he was very real. Father McClinley.
Father McClinley.
Yes. So yeah, you went to this church, you got very pissed, and you took your 2 friends out into the graveyard.
I was holding both their hands and I was right. Basically, they were rolling me along the floor in my onion costume.
They were doing that thing where you have a kid and you swing them. You have one hand each and you swing them and you jump in the air. Exactly. You were just jumping, going yay, yay!
It was bliss as we were walking over people's graves.
Funnily, it was the happiest and most alive you've ever been in your life.
as we kicked, and I specifically went out of my way to kick the flowers of mourners.
Yes. Unfortunately, one friend was killed by a werewolf, the other was killed by a vampire.
Wouldn't you know it? Just the luck.
Yeah, and then you, Nathan, you were given the opportunity by the vampire and werewolf.
The amazing duo of claws and fangs, because they also were cops on the side.
Yeah, they ran a detective agency in their spare time. But they were both full from your friends, and they were like, well, you're tiny, you're an onion man, you've got a cow's head, we don't really want to eat you, but we'll...
Both immortal, monstrous creatures, but you look a bit weird.
Exactly. So they said, we want to turn you into something. Do you want to be a werewolf or a vampire? And Nathan, you chose to become a vampire.
I did. I just thought it would be amazing to be able to transform into a bat, which is literally the same size as I currently am. So basically, I am a gnome with a cow's head, but the cow's head gets vampire teeth whenever at night.
I really want people to do fan art of your form at this point in time.
I'm wearing a big black cape. I mean, I say basically the actual vampire just cut a little corner off the end of his cape and gave it to me, and I just sellotaped it to my neck. And yeah, I am now a immortal gnome cow-headed vampire.
Yes, in an Onion Man suit.
Yes.
And I remember around that...
Like a garlic suit.
In a what, sorry?
Vampires don't mind onions too much, but a garlic costume would have been a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that would have been very contradictory. But as we said, we're making sense and we're adding all this up for everyone so they know what happened. So obviously I was in my cabin tap dancing all the time, but I was getting so lonely. So I called up a bunch of my friends. All I wanted was a friendly game of poker, I think. You know, just something where I could have a few drinks, have a few laughs, and play cards.
You did. Playing poker with your friends of various different animal kingdoms. You were playing this poker game, and you were about to do the royal flush and what's that other thing where you throw down a card and say a word?
Pontoon?
No, not pontoon. That's a very simple go fish or something. Or
Uno.
wait, you were pontooning and you were going fishing, and you had two aces and a Charmander when suddenly your enemies burst through the door and just shot up the place.
Yes.
Absolute carnage. Everyone was dead. Once again, you were legally dead, Carl. This is the second time this episode that you've died.
I keep fighting back, Nathan.
You do. Death keeps spitting you out.
I've got a fighting spirit. Not even the devil wants me.
So you were patched together by another friendly doctor. Again, one of the psychic billion uplets.
Dr. Completely Insane Doctorson.
Yes. And yeah, again, one of the billion uplets. And he decided, well, he took what was in the room, because he came to you rather than you going to the hospital. That's just a kind of excellent Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
He looked around the room, saw your animal friends, saw all the appliances, and decided the only way to save your bullet-ridden corpse was to stitch you together and attach a toaster to you. So you are now a half toaster, half baboon hippopotamus hybrid.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, my penis at the time was a toaster.
Yes.
Thankfully, I didn't have to tap dance every time.
The curse has been lifted now.
Yeah.
The witch wasn't specific enough to say that if you were ever transformed into a half human, half baboon, half toaster hippopotamus hybrid, that the curse would keep going.
In hindsight, she probably should have.
Like a legal loophole.
Yeah, next time I think she'll definitely remember to add that into the clauses, but thankfully I got away with it. But then something like that was slightly a slightly weird thing that happened to me. But the even weirder thing was I started wearing glasses.
You did. So you were now a half toaster, half baboon hippopotamus. But you left the hospital and you realised something was missing from that look. Functioning eyes. So you got yourself a new prescription. You joined the glasses wearing clan.
I did indeed. And that sort of settled me for a while. I was fine. But you, Nathan, around that time, do you remember you got that email from that Nigerian prince?
I did. I mean, it was again because I'm a gnome. My phone is the size of a widescreen television to me.
Yes.
So I am having to punch the phone to press the buttons. So answering an email, like getting an email, is very important, and I have to go to a lot of effort to read it.
Hmm.
And yes, the Nigerian prince saw my Instagram profile and thought I was a
Yes,
buxom beauty
he
as
did.
the gnome-sized onion.
Who wouldn't look at something so different and so amazing and not think you're a buxom beauty
I mean,
and want.
unfortunately, my last few pictures on Instagram, I couldn't do any more sunbathing pics because I'm now a creature of night. Um,
Yes.
moon bathing. I was moon bathing, and that was clearly the pictures that inspired this Nigerian prince to well, realize that I was a buxom beauty and realize that that definitely meant I was trustworthy and he should entrust his fortune to me.
Yeah, there was only one catch, wasn't there? You needed to give him like a 5,000
Retain,
pounds retainer. Yeah,
and I would
um,
then get back quadruple fold.
yeah. You knew that the only way to do that was to make a big selling YouTube video.
Yes, the most exciting thing I could do was jump over a tank of sharks.
Yes,
Skateboard jump or scump over a tank of sharks.
scump, a phrase that we coined ourselves.
Yes.
But obviously you did this at night because you were a vampire. So you went to
That
the skate park at night. So it was even more dangerous, really.
I was wearing one of those yellow high vis jackets,
Yeah,
tiny.
I
It was
remember.
basically a yellow high vis jacket from like a lollipop lady action figure.
I remember watching the video, you slipping on the skateboard, falling into the tank, and becoming half a man.
Half alive by sharks.
Yes, literally straight down the middle. So you were sent to the hospital as half a man, and I ended up in the hospital myself in the same ward as you, I think.
Serendipitously, you were in the hospital at the same time.
I mean, this is after I had been turned into a toaster hippopotamus hybrid.
Oh yeah, so yeah,
I ended up in a coma, if I remember rightly.
so yeah, you were in the same hospital at the same time, following an unfortunate accident involving a pomegranate and an elephant. I don't think I need to say any more. Well, obviously the doctors prioritised your health, being the beautiful, womanly figure that you are, while I was a half-eaten vampire onion cowhead monster.
You're just this. Oh my god, you're such a hideous mutation by this
I mean,
point.
they actually didn't bother, like, to start with. They didn't get a doctor; they got a priest.
Yeah, I remember doing the podcast with you around this time, and I could barely look at the screen. It was so disturbing.
Yeah, because they basically just stitched up that half of my body, and I had to pogo home wrapped as a mummy. I had to pogo home through alleyways, avoiding the sunlight.
Exactly. But I remember waking up from this coma, and I had gained some sort of superpowers.
You had become psychic, and you could understand everyone and all of their emotional needs, and you could connect with people on an emotional level, and basically you became a friend to all mankind.
And brought peace to the world, might I add. So even though I'm a hippopotamus toaster penis hybrid,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's taking them a while to commission that statue of you. It's a bit
yeah,
complicated.
they'd never done anything like that before. But yeah, I managed to bring peace to the entire world, which, I mean, what more do I need to say? Everyone was there, everyone knew.
Frankly, I thought we'd get a bit more fan mail about you bringing peace to the entire world.
You would have thought they might have put something in the newspaper about it, but
Yeah,
there you
it
go.
was on page 10.
Yeah, that's governments for you.
Underneath, uh, local duck becomes mayor.
So yeah, you were half a man. You didn't know what to do with yourself.
I mean, really, I'm less than half a man. I'm
Less
like I'm like ten fifths. Does that make sense? No, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
You're a
I am
particle of a man.
miniaturely small. I am half an action figure.
Exactly. You're feeling very low, but luckily around that time you managed to get two dates on the same night.
Yeah, I mean, it really speaks to my charming personality,
It does.
my suave demeanour,
I
that these women decide that agreed to go out with a gnome-sized, half-chewed, cow-headed vampire.
I think it was your vampire charm more than anything else that got you these
Has the
dates.
onion costume fallen off of me now? It probably has. I've no longer got the onion costume because it's been half eaten off of me, so it's kind of just fallen off.
Yeah, just the other. Yeah, it got chopped down the middle, and then that other half fell off. So you don't have the onion costume anymore, unfortunately. But you still have half a cow's head,
Yes.
with one vampire fang.
So I can now lick half a stamp.
Exactly. But these two dates you got, one was with Kelly Bitchmas, and the other was with Betty Nice Socks. And for some
Oh,
reason, you decided to live with Betty Nice Socks.
I did. The amazing, deformed goblin woman that smelled of, I think, rotten garbage.
Yeah, but she was the nicest person ever. It's like you two are so nice, but you're both incredibly hideous monstrosities.
I mean, I'm making her think I'm nice. I'm reinventing myself.
Yeah,
Since I've been transformed 5 different times, I thought I might as well reinvent myself
yeah.
because I am now unrecognizable as the man I once was. I mean, my mum already didn't recognize me back when I just had a cow's head. Um,
Now,
Now none of my family know who I am. So yes, I've reinvented myself and was living peacefully with Betty Nice Socks in
yeah.
romantic bliss.
And you didn't even notice that even though I had created world peace, I was very dumb and I forgot to look where I was walking and I fell down into the sewers and I think I ended up getting eaten by a giant
You
crocodile.
were swallowed whole.
I was swallowed whole. Yeah, I wasn't eaten obviously because I'm still here. That would be
You were
ridiculous.
swallowed whole by Tiny the giant crocodile,
Yes.
and you were writing your memoirs, I believe, in the crocodile, and you threw the memoirs out of the crocodile's mouth, and it became a best-selling novel.
Yeah, I didn't know how long I was going to live, Nathan. I thought I was going to die in there, but
You were, you were,
clearly
you
I
were,
didn't.
but yes, you were on a rocking chair in the stomach acid with the acid building up and up,
Yeah.
and it did melt the toaster off of your penis.
Oh, that's good.
And you dragged yourself out of Tiny and returned.
From which end?
I believe it's best we don't talk about that.
I browned out around that time, so I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, beautiful. So you have returned to the land of the living. Obviously, you've created world peace and you've got a best-selling novel. So you're living the life of Riley.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I had to claw my way out and escape. And meanwhile, you, Nathan, do you remember what you did around that time? So you were hopping down the street, and obviously you can't walk straight, and you
No,
accidentally knocked over your next door neighbour, Mr. Winters's garden gnome.
I mean, which was the same size as me, really. So I kind of
Yeah.
stumbled into it and I mean, I say knocked over. I actually fell in love with his garden gnome, and we had a tender moment.
Oh, what did Betty Nice Socks think of that?
She's so nice and understanding. She understands my needs.
Oh, good. So yeah, you fell in love with this gnome and defiled it, but Mr. Winters was incredibly pissed off with this. He gets very emotional and very angry at these sorts of things, but he knew that he couldn't take you on his own. So he teamed up with your other nemesis, Cornelius Whiskers, your two greatest foes,
My two
um,
greatest foes.
and they
I mean,
kidnapped you.
when they saw that I was half melted, half a cow's head gnome, did they not think that their revenge was already pre-done?
They thought
I hadn't suffered enough.
they looked at you with a half a cow's head
With
and vampire
my,
fang
oh, oh yeah, I was
and
a vampire before I fell into the vat of sharks. Surely being a vampire would have protected me, but apparently
you
not.
would
We
have
found,
thought so,
we
wouldn't
found
you?
vampires' fourth weakness, sharks.
Exactly. So yeah, they saw you like this and they thought, yeah, he definitely needs teaching a lesson.
Yeah. Give me, you see someone who's never had anything bad happen to him life and definitely needs to be brought down a peg or two.
So they commissioned a jumbo jet, kidnapped you, and threw you out of it.
They did, and I was falling towards two islands
Yes,
and chose to fall into the island of digital media zombies,
you
where
did.
everyone was addicted to their phones, despite the
Yes.
fact that it literally had no signal. They were roaming the island looking for signal, and if they caught me, I would become one of them. So I was living hiding on the island, constantly keeping away from them, which was actually kind of easy because I was so small I could just fit in rabbit holes.
Yeah, so I
I was
think,
even smaller than I used to be. I used to be, a full gnome. Now I'm half a gnome. So I can climb through little holes in the ground. I mean when the ground brushes against my scabby half half healed skin, it is excruciatingly painful.
you're being chipped away bit by bit in every story we tell, and soon,
I am leaving a trail of blood and organs for the
yeah.
zombies to follow.
I mean, I remember around this time I was just like bathing in a bathtub full of sandwiches, like trying to relax after having been swallowed by a giant crocodile.
Yeah, I mean, you were living it up. You really
Yeah.
were.
But then that tornado attacked, I remember around that time, I think.
Yeah, so as you said, you were swooped up in the tornado in your bathtub, and
Yes.
happened to crash into the local power plant,
Yes. Yeah.
local plutonium power plant, where Kevin had found a job. He was trying to rebuild his life following his devastating breakup with you. And he was working as a janitor, cleaning, and he'd already had two strikes against his name for not getting things tidy enough in time. When you smashed through the window and broke through a vat of radioactive waste and merged with it and gained incredible psychic powers.
Yes. I was
First,
able.
and you were able to read minds, and the first thought you read was Kevin going, "You bastard."
Yeah, it was a curse. Like, I had brought peace to the world, and now I could hear everyone's true feelings towards me. I knew that they weren't really happy with the world at peace. They weren't really
Yes,
happy. You know, they,
and they're all going, "Oh, why is the Messiah so ugly? Why is he a half hippo, half baboon toaster hybrid?"
yeah, at least now I didn't have the toaster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you no longer had a toaster.
So I think everyone so far is still caught up. Nothing doesn't make sense. This is,
Nothing doesn't make sense.
yeah,
Definitely nothing
it's
does not make
all
sense.
gravy. So on this island, Nathan, do you remember you were digging in a sandbox on the
I
island?
was. I did. In my attempt to escape the island, I was digging in the sandbox, and I believe I discovered something.
You discovered a teapot, didn't you? It was a teapot that had a genie inside, as far as I
And
remember.
I mean, the teapot was about the same size as me. I really could have chosen to live inside the teapot if I chose,
Hmm.
but I didn't. I rubbed it, and I believe out of it came a genie.
Yeah, and you proceeded to piss off the genie to a point where he cursed you to be tired for the rest of time.
I'm a half-eaten vampire with a cow's head. I'm a bit bitter, Kyle.
Yeah, so
Bit
you thought I'll take it out on this poor genie, and you pissed him off to the point where he cursed you to be tired for the rest of time.
oh my Jesus Christ!
Yep.
I really can't catch a break, can I, Kyle?
You really couldn't. Not around that time.
So I am now on an island trying to escape digital media zombies,
Yep.
but I am exhausted.
Absolutely
Constantly.
exhausted.
I've already got half a body, so I was already pretty tired, dragging myself around.
But do you remember what you did? You decided to go all Rambo on the digital media zombies arse, and you killed every single last one of them.
I did, yes. I believe I opened a theme park on that island, Drunken Slumberland. I converted the digital media island, zombie island, into Drunken Slumberland, the happiest place on earth for depressed adults.
Yes, for depressed alcoholics, it was the best place in the world.
A place where you can feel happy for 5 seconds and then you remember that you're miserable.
But I mean, a lot had happened to me as well, don't
Oh
forget.
yes. I mean, you still had those glasses.
I still had the glasses, and Yeah, that was the main problem.
I believe you had stigmatism in your eyes and you were the second coming of Jesus as well, but let's move on from that.
That's a story for another day. But all of these problems led me into therapy.
They did. You'd had a lot happen to you. You really needed someone to unpack it with you. And this therapist, whose name I definitely remember, Dr. Horshitesness, who was also a twin, a female twin of the psychic brothers, again adopted by another family. Um, so it all links together. She really got through to you, Carl. She really got to the root of your problems through precise psychiatric methods of electrocuting you and slapping you in the face with a fish. She was able to make it that you can only ever express one emotion for the rest of your life. You chose to be happy.
Yes, like all sane people, I decided to be happy for the rest of eternity.
Like, you still feel the actual emotions you're feeling, but you can only ever express them as happiness.
Yeah, no matter how angry I got, I would be smiling.
And so that's you now, Kyle, the happiest man alive, while I am, running my drunken slumberland.
Well, you hired me, didn't you? Because I was so happy, you called me up and said, I need a mascot, someone to look after all these drunkards. And I said, yeah, sure, I'll come work at Drunken Slumberland. So now I'm there working as I was there working as that happy guy that all the drunk people loved.
Oh yeah, the Drunken Slumberland did go out of business because apparently funding a enterprise on everyone getting drunk and being drunk constantly is not a good business model. I've found out, and being pissed, every member of staff being pissed constantly and drinking their own supply and paying staff with alcohol. It just didn't work out for some reason.
No. And the only way to fix that was to completely blow up the island. So we built that tiny boat.
No, I got an Acme crate with dynamite in it and just blew it up. And we sailed back to our normal lives.
Yes, where you got an office job, I believe.
I did. I thought, a lot has happened to me. So much. I've had so much tumultuous craziness. I really need to settle down and have a calm, normal life. And this will be the turning point. This is where it's all going to finally go right, and good old Nathan is going to get his life together.
Yeah. So you got a job with the handsomest boss in the world.
I know. I was doing the handsome report. I was reporting on how handsome my boss was.
Yes.
Basically,
Fabio.
Every day I was writing up all the reasons why Fabio was so attractive, and I'm especially bitter of how attractive he is because I am a half-eaten monstrosity.
Yeah. So, and you could only work nights as well, which sucked.
Yeah, that's true. I could only work nights. Fabio's a lovely guy. He let me work around the schedule. In fact, he made it that everyone worked nights, so I was still working with the full complement of staff.
Exactly.
Everyone else did hate me, but he was quite nice to me.
But then, of course, sentient lava attacked your building like it does.
Yeah.
And you had to pick one of the two safe rooms. One holding Vindaloo Vinny and the other Annoying Angie. You, of course, picked Annoying Angie.
I did, and we spent a week together, and she told me all about her babies.
Yes.
And we just talked about her, and when I say we, I mean she, and
somehow, Nathan, you ended up in a relationship together.
Yes, we became one, and
Yes.
we became inseparable, as in I could not get away from her. And she let me know how everything I ever knew and thought was wrong.
Exactly.
I'm the happiest man alive.
So we had gotten off this island. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was starting to drink a lot now, and I managed to get myself into a bar fight.
Yes, and you were beaten to death by the sweet old lady.
Yes.
When a leprechaun, because you were drinking at the Rainbow's End, so a leprechaun at Rainbow's End gifted you, healed your wounds, and made it so you could no longer feel any pain whatsoever.
Physically.
Oh yes, emotionally, you still need to see a therapist. You can only ever express your painful emotions with happiness. So you seem fine.
I seem fine, and
inside you're filled with turmoil
yeah,
and despair.
I can't be hurt on the outside at all. Bullets ping straight off me, but
No, I know you can't feel pain.
no,
You can still hurt.
I can still get hurt. Damn. Okay, I
You
just
can
can't
still
feel
get
it.
hurt. You just don't feel the pain.
I just don't feel it. Okay, fair enough. But then you, Nathan, you decided that enough was enough. You'd had your time with Angie, and you thought, I need to get some plastic surgery to become me again.
Whatever happened to Betty Nice Socks? Did she Angie got rid of her, did she?
Yeah, Angie killed her off, I think, didn't she?
Oh right, yeah, yeah. Because after I spent that week with Angie, and she
Yeah.
decided we were in love.
She
Um,
decided that you were the one, and
I,
she decided that she was the one for you.
yes, and no other woman, no matter how nice they were, mattered.
Yeah,
Well, actually, because Angie was always right and she was in charge, she told me to murder Betty,
yeah.
and so I did. And Betty, being the lovely woman that she is,
She is.
encouraged me, told me
She
what a good
assisted you.
job I.
Yeah,
Yeah, she told me what a good job I was doing murdering her. And because I am half a gnome, I did actually need some assistance. So she did most of the work herself. Actually, I was driving the dagger into her heart, but she was really using most of the force.
yeah, yeah. But
And that
then
was a lovely experience that definitely hasn't traumatized me.
no. Angie was telling you how hideous you are, in
How
this
fat I am,
form.
despite the fact that I've literally lost 50% of my body fat.
Yeah, so you decided to go and get some plastic surgery to become good as new again. But the most important thing you wanted was a brand new pair of boobs.
Yes, absolutely. Because when half your body is eaten alive, the first thing you want is a pair of boobs. How
Um,
would the second boob stay on me if I've only got half a body?
well, they did reconstruct your entire body from scratch first.
Oh,
So
okay.
you had become you, but with a pair of boobs, and that was the plan anyway.
Basically, they just my tiny little gnome body, they stitched up inside another body.
Yeah, so you were basically like the robot or the alien in Men in Black
Yeah,
inside the real
I'm
body.
operating a human body that looks like me inside my human body that looks like me.
Yeah, and all you needed to make yourself perfect was to get a nice big pair of boobs. But unfortunately, you went to the wrong doctors and you ended up getting a surgery where they sucked
Fat and muscle.
all of the fat and muscle, yeah, from your
Yeah,
body. And
it was one of those extreme diet scenarios where you want all of your muscles sucked away.
yeah, so you were still you were back to being you again, but incredibly skinny.
Yes, I mean, in fact, I was so skinny you could see inside the body the tiny little gnome with a cow's head sticking out of the skin.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, I think we tried to get me back to normal then, but the universe refused.
yeah, unfortunately. Meanwhile, I was escaping an illegal badger fight.
You were, yes, you had been betting on those badges, and the next fight was going to be with you when a wizard warned you of the dangers in front of you, and you ignored the wizard and went down the road and became devoid of all emotions.
Yeah, so that took away the fact that I'm happy all the time.
Oh
It
yes,
just took away any kind of emotion whatsoever.
yeah, it's complete monotone now. There is no feeling left in you whatsoever.
So I feel no feeling on the inside and no feeling on the outside.
Yeah, so it matches.
Yeah, I have no feeling whatsoever.
So if you could feel, you'd be
Yeah,
relieved that you no longer have to pretend to be happy all the time. But you
exactly.
don't, so you don't think anything of the sort.
No. But you, Nathan, with your new body, you started up that band, the Prickly Hedgehogs.
I mean, I'm the size of a head. No, I'm no longer the size of a
No,
hedgehog.
no, no.
I'm
You're you
still
size,
got,
but super skinny.
I'm super skinny, which kind of fits for a punk rock band.
Yeah.
And yes, I was showing off, hurling my drumsticks in the air. When fortunately my voice box was cut to shreds.
It was indeed. And that
It
guy,
was.
do you remember that dodgy guy who decided to give you a voice box and you chose the
Oh,
Scooby Doo, wasn't it?
and yes, he gave me the opportunity to sound like Scooby Doo.
Which you jumped at.
I did. I absolutely jumped at because it really fits with the prickly hedgehog. Power against power against the establishment model.
Your anti-establishment voice.
Yes, exactly. I mean, nothing sums up anti-establishment mentality like Scooby Doo.
Yes.
Where are you?
And I was on my way to your concert, your biggest concert yet. You had like 5 people in the audience, I think.
We did, and you would have made six.
I would have made 6, but on the way there, I
I mean, you
was.
wouldn't have enjoyed it.
No, not at all. No one does.
In fact, you I don't even know why you were turning up. You just knew logically this was something you'd agreed to do before you lost all your emotions. You were like, this is on the calendar. This is something that I should do.
Exactly. But so I was on my way there when I was.
Mugged by an 8-year-old girl.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it. So yeah, thanks.
Um,
I was mugged by an 8-year-old girl.
By that, to go to the gym and really work out and build up your muscle mass.
Get buff.
And get buff. And you saw a poster advertising a quick and simple way to build up muscle mass, but with the help of Professor Herbert Maddington. And you went to see him, and he injected you first with a drug that would turn your blood into acid, but then he injected you with, what you really wanted, with a drug that would make you big and strong. Maybe a bit too big and strong, because you are now a enormous hulking beast, and everything you do destroys everything in your wake.
Yeah, and because I feel nothing for anyone or anything, I didn't really care what had happened to anyone.
You didn't care that you were swatting birds out of the air, or that you were flexing your muscles so hard, there were hurricanes, and you did a little jig, and you kicked the Earth off of its axis, and the Earth went into the sun and boiled alive.
And literally destroyed the entire world.
Yes.
And I think I ended up living in the sun for a little while. Do you remember?
You did. You were living in the sun for a little while, but your big, strong, manly muscles destroyed the sun and the universe.
Yeah, and you. I was the only thing that was left, to be honest.
But because you were the only thing that was left, and then you flexed your muscles one more time, and you created the second Big Bang.
I did. That was interesting. That was only a couple of months ago now, but yeah.
Well, I mean, in celestial terms, it was a couple of months. In real terms, it was 20 billion years. So this is actually the second time you've recorded this podcast, because it was actually with the previous version of me that existed in the previous.
I had to wait a few billion years just for everything to come back round again, so that
find me again with the medallion. And there was actually a second version of you in this universe that you had to murder.
But yeah, I killed them, and pretty much everything was back to normal.
Absolutely everything is back to normal. I am now a skinny little man with the voice of Scooby-Doo.
And I am
the strongest man in the world.
Yeah, just with no emotions.
Because you destroyed the Earth once, you're trying not to do it again. I mean, actually, I say this is the second universe. This is actually the fourth time. You've destroyed the Earth a few times. You really
it's so easy to do, isn't it, though? You know when you just accidentally destroy a universe.
Yeah, I mean, definitely whatever you do not flex that muscle right now.
No, but I did get you that job on Chiddle's Corner, didn't I? To be the assistant of Mr. Chidlefright.
Oh, yes, you did. I mean... that really did make up for you destroying the Earth and killing me 5 times.
But unfortunately, the Mr. Chidlefright turned out to be evil. You were sent to a nightmare realm and were forced to eat raw onions.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm familiar with onions, so it's my old friend.
Yeah, I mean, you used to be Onion Man for a while.
But now I'm not, so I'm no longer immune to the power of onions.
No. But I think
if I was still Onion Man, eating raw onions would have no effect on me whatsoever. I'd be laughing it off with my hands on my hips, my cape flowing in the wind. But I'm not.
You're just skinny old Nathan.
Yeah. So the onions are going down my stomach, and you can see them sticking out of my belly.
Do you not remember around that time, Nathan? I thought the world was ending again because I'd ended it so many times.
You have gotten a little paranoid about the world ending.
Yeah, I thought it was ending again. I read a horoscope.
And you decided to escape. Yes, I remember now.
Yeah.
You built a teleportation device that would take you to a parallel universe.
Yeah, dimension hopping pogo stick, if you will.
Of course, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mischaracterize it and the brand. I mean, what's the brand? What's the? How are you going to sell it as?
What my
Dimension hopping pogo stick. I mean, that's what it
Di-
physically is. What's the brand?
Daimyo Pogo Sticko?
Oh, of course, Diamigo Pogo Sticko. Did you say Dolmio? Dolmio Pogo
No,
Stick.
it's not a sauce. Don't get it
Oh,
confused.
it's not, the advert doesn't have those little puppets.
Oh yeah, the advert does have little puppets, but
Oh,
it's definitely not for Dolmio sauce. It's
oh,
it's
okay.
it's heavily copyright, but
Heavily copied from Dolmio,
yeah,
but it's
it's
definitely
heavily
not.
stolen from them, but it's
Um,
definitely not that.
so your Dolmio Pogo Sticko got you to another dimension, a
Yes,
dimension where they had never invented bread, and I believe you
yes.
attempted to invent bread there, but you couldn't quite remember all the ingredients.
Because in that universe bread didn't exist, my brain couldn't comprehend bread.
One of the laws of physics, bread just cannot exist there.
Yes. So unfortunately, at this point in time, me and Nathan were completely in separate worlds,
Yes.
and I had to find the Nathan of that universe who was very well spoken and posh.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, and he was definitely not skinny and definitely not a half melted onion vampire. He was, a sexy, suave, big muscled, full head of hair. But then he fell into that vat of acid and half his hair fell off and he suddenly somehow got fat. Yeah, so that you found that version of me
I,
with the medallion. And
yeah,
again, I've been waiting to meet you for a long time.
and we tried to do a podcast together.
You met me. You met that version of me, and you caught me up on what the other version of me had done. So I now know all of the things that the previous versions of me did.
Yeah, because that you are that version.
Yeah, in fact, you had a device. You had been since we met. You've been recording my brain patterns in a Game Boy Advance, and you just plugged it into my brain and copied all that information into this other version of me. So now I literally have the memories of the other universe me.
Yeah, so pretty much, if you think about it, we're basically where we started, without
Yeah,
really trying. But then a couple more things happened the other week, didn't they, Nathan?
they did. So many things.
I mean, nothing that would change your body in any way or anything, but you became censored. So every time you swear, because the people that run, the censoring board really didn't like your fucking swearing.
They really didn't. They absolutely did not.
Whereas my fucking swearing is, I don't really.
It's charming and endearing, and
Yeah, yeah,
like when your nan swears, it's quite endearing.
exactly. And then the final thing I think that happened is I went to my old school reunion. That was the very last thing that happened to us. Well, to me, anyway.
It was, and you met up with some old, we'll say friends, and you were melted. You were melted in a terrible accident and merged with your schoolyard sweetheart, who you went on one date with and became totally obsessed with and followed you around for the rest of your life. And
Yes.
you are now merged and melted into one composite human being.
Yeah, exactly. So where will our story lead us next? We have come to quite the climax here, Nathan.
Yes, I mean, so many things have happened to me. I mean, actually, they happened to the other version of me in the other reality, but
Yes.
I remember them. I remember being half eaten by sharks, and it's a traumatic experience.
I mean, I've lived billions of years over like 5 different universes.
You have. Are you still a giant muscular man?
I lost all of my muscle mass
And were you
whilst
a giant muscular hippopotamus, a baboon?
I was, but then when I got combined with Holly Hallelujah, my
Yeah.
ex-girlfriend,
It melted away the hippopotamus and baboon and just left Kyle, and also melted away your excess muscles.
it did. Muscles. There's a fact for the episode. Muscles melt away if you're combined with your ex.
Yes, I mean the sun falling into the sun can't destroy muscles, but
Not at
the
all.
bitterness of Kyle's ex is
Yes.
powerful enough to destroy. So you now are back to normal, Kyle. Apart from the fact that your ex has been fused to your skin.
Yeah, pretty much. And we live in a universe without bread.
Yeah, but that is normal because that is just what this universe is like.
Yeah. So where will the future lead
Always
us?
just where will the future lead us?
What capers and shenanigans will we get into next week, Nathan?
It's impossible to know.
It is, but at least now people at home know that we haven't been making any of this up.
No, they know that it all makes sense. They know that
It's
me
all
and Carl were destined from the beginning of time to meet and form this dynamic duo.
yeah,
All of the billion uplit doctors out there have all been secretly working together to get us to this moment.
exactly. It's all leading to something, and everything has been
There is
connected.
a grand plan that definitely makes sense.
There is. It's like when all of the Marvel films come together, the Avengers will happen soon.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's like five separate movies that all have an interconnected story.
Yeah.
Definitely not like if you randomly put in five separate DVDs from five separate film franchises and pretended they were from the same universe.
Oh wow! Do you think that if you put two DVDs into the DVD slot at the same
I
time,
didn't mean
would
at
it?
the same time. I
No, but
meant
no,
like
but
picking
if you,
five random films.
Nathan, if you did, you put two different DVDs in at the same time, would they merge and make like the ultimate crossover movie?
What, like when Harry Met Sally would have the Terminator in it.
That would be amazing.
I mean, I think we were discussing this before. Were we discussing this? Like, oh, I've definitely discussed this with someone.
Maybe in
But
some universe.
I think every movie would benefit from having Captain America in it. The Titanic, suddenly Captain America jumps out and punches a Nazi in the face. Arnie from The Predator is running around with guns. And I need to stop thinking of action things. What's a non-actiony thing? Bridget Jones and what's that lawyer from Legally Blonde? Does she have a name? She
Oh,
must
she
have a
must
name.
have a name. I don't know what it is though.
It's unlikely that they would make a movie about a woman that doesn't have a name. That's why all my movie pitches have failed. Like when they say, "Oh, what's this character called?" Well, she doesn't have a name. She's born without a name.
What about Buffy the Vampire Slayer versus Blade? Who would
Oh,
win?
ooh,
Would you
that's a
rather?
cool one.
Oh, we've got a new show. Screw everything you've just listened to,
Yeah, I mean, it's
folks.
definitely nothing. This is definitely 100% original. A death match battle. Definitely nothing else that
This
exists
sh-
on the internet that's similar to that.
this show is now Deathmatch Battle.
Extreme plus ultra.
Buffy versus Blade.
Mr. Blobby versus Mrs.
Shrek.
Doubtfire, and Shrek versus another one. Shrek versus Austin Powers,
Yeah. Oh dear.
and Fiona from Shrek versus whatever her name was in Charlie's Angels, that was played by Cameron Diaz. Angel number 3. It definitely isn't sexist of me to refer to her specifically as a blonde woman. That is her only characteristic. I think we have established that we live two ordinary, like relatable lives.
Very normal lives. And I think we've come up with about 1,000,000 facts for all of our fans over these episodes as well. So we've done a service.
We absolutely have.
So
We have done God's work, or perhaps something else.
pans?
Perhaps? Did I say perhaps?
Perhaps.
Did I say perhaps?
No, that's a good phrase. Perhaps.
As
where you're-
perhaps. And you have a hat on at the time, and you tip your hat to whoever you're saying that to.
Oh wow, yes, we've got to make that a thing.
But yeah, and I mean that's the excuse to wear a variety of different hats every day. You know, a cowboy hat one day, a top hat the next. I've instantly forgotten all the other hats that exist in the world.
A fedora,
a fedora,
fruit hat.
a baseball cap. You can wear the baseball cap twice. You can wear it front ways and then back ways. A fruit hat, a novelty hat with a camera inside of it, a Trojan horse cat that has 1,000,000 Trojans hiding inside of it.
Exactly. And you go up to your neighbour and you say, "Have you seen my violin? Perhaps."
I mean, not my,
And
my
you-
neighbour. My neighbour doesn't like me very much.
No, your neighbour is a supervillain.
If I so much as sneeze near my neighbour, he will enact an elaborate revenge plan that will take months and months of planning.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid him because he's kidnapped me 5 times, thrown me onto islands, banished me into a volcano, framed me for murder. I mean, ironically, I've already committed a bunch of murders.
Sacrificed you to many gods.
Oh yeah, all the gods. I've had to drag. I mean, this is this wasn't part of the history of the podcast. I just thought it, as a little tidbit, I have dragged myself out of 5 different hells.
Ah, yes, yes. And I have been booted out of many heavens.
And you've restarted. You are now God himself. You've supplanted God.
Yeah, I have coordinated the course of this universe and sort of influenced most things that have happened. Because of me, Trump exists, and I do feel bad about that. I do.
I mean, I did make a racist, bumbling, bad-haired idiot to the Prime Minister, so I feel bad about that as well. Between the two of us, but you invented the internet and I invented Star Wars, so
Exactly.
it kind of balances out.
It balances out. So we've done a great service here today and over the past year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone disagrees with anything we said today, then they can let us know in the comments. And if they enjoyed this rambling mess for any reason, then they can follow and subscribe to the podcast on Patreon. They can find it at patreon.com/ifyouhadto, though. You can follow me on Twitter at Kyle M. Bennett. That's Kyle_M_Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's.
And you can follow me at NWozniakArt, which is NWOZNIAKART. And follow me on Instagram at Nathan Wozniak, which is NATHANWOZNIAK. Because it's spelled like my name, because it is my name. It's my name. And it's my name.
It's his name. This has been If You Had To, though. I've been Kyle.
And I've been Nathan, because it's my name.
It's his name.
Yeah, but not the Nathan that you all will be listening to. I'm a Nathan from a different universe.
Yes.